محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالعلم وزين أخلاقنا بالحلم وافتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين. ثم أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
وأطلتم وطاب ممشاكم وتبوأتم من الجنة منزلا بإذن الله. I really, cherish and appreciate what the Malaysian, Indonesian Muslim community do. Subhanallah, despite the COVID-19 circumstances, you did not give up. And instead of just staying home, you decided to make a virtual convention for the Muslim community, for the Indonesian, Malaysian Muslim community. That's something wonderful, and that is really appreciated. I see, mashallah, the number of participants is more than 450 participants on Saturday morning. It means a lot to me. It means that, mashallah, you are so eager and so motivated to get together and to resume and continue that sense of brotherhood and sisterhood, and to benefit from the break, and to put your resources together and to learn something new, and to coordinate with one another on how to establish your Muslim identity, how to preserve your Muslim identity in the US. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the leadership of this convention. Our topic for today, as you see, it's a halal stock investment. Before we go further, we need to make sure that we all on the same page, as they say. When we talk about halal investment, halal stock investment, we are like supplementing our income, looking for different or a side business, to set off any deficit, any shortage in our finance because of COVID-19. Maybe back in 2019, we did not think that serious of establishing a side business, because alhamdulillah, everybody was safe and secure and financially okay, having jobs, making good money. So there was no desperate need for us to think out of the box and to establish something something aside to supplement our income. It's not, unfortunately, the case nowadays because of COVID-19. Some of us got impacted, badly with COVID-19, lost their jobs, lost their business, business went down. So talking about a side business became almost a must for some of us. And when we talk about investment, this is a part of the financial stability that we target or try to achieve. And I want to establish here a very simple fact, that you, as the bread maker of the household, looking for your financial stability and your family members' financial stability during your lifetime, and after long life, inshallah, full of obedience and ta'ah, after your death, is a part of our deen. I mean, you are not doing something wrong. You are not asking too much if you want to be financially stable, right? And look at the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he was approached by Sa'd radiallahu anhu, who was about to die, and leaving behind only one daughter in addition to his wife. So he wanted to donate everything, for the cause of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Prophet ﷺ did not allow him to do so. 2/3, he said, no, 2/3 is too much. 1/3, he said الثلث والثلث كثير, like to bequeath 1/3 of your inheritance after your death to be given away for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is okay, yet it is too much. And then the Prophet ﷺ justified his fatwa by saying, as you see here, إنك إن تذر ورثتك أغنياء خير من أن تذرهم عالة يتكففون الناس. Leaving your inheritors wealthy is way better than leaving them poor, begging people. So what you are talking about today actually is a kind of securing financial stability for ourselves and for our kids as well. Of course, as I said, a lot of us get badly impacted by COVID-19, and we started thinking out of the box, looking for a different business or a side business. Okay, one of those options is the real estate business. You can flip homes, like you buy homes, for less, you remodel, you reshape, and then you sell again, you make some money. Or you buy, for example, rental properties, like for leasing purposes, and you make some money. Another option that I have received a lot of question about is the stock market issue. And that's actually our focus for today. Let's see what we have here when it comes to investing in the stock market. Okay. Basically, before we go through details and just zoom in on what does it mean to have a halal stock investment, there are some advices that I want my brothers and sisters to take into consideration, whether you are talking about like having a 401k or individual retirement account, or 403b for those who work for non-for-profit organizations, brokerage account, 529 for the education of your kids, simple investment account, whatever the platform might be. Always have in mind that you do not have to limit yourself to the US based stock market. You can invest internationally, and the matter of fact, it is more preferred to invest internationally. Okay, there is a big and huge and well-established stock market in China and different places in the world. Of course, you do not have to go there. I mean, you can do everything online, but I want you to think broadly and make sure that you do not limit yourself to only the US stock market, because I mean, as you have seen, the US economics has been badly impacted, okay, like in other countries, by COVID-19. Also, diversify your investment in different industries. Do not choose, for example, education only, or medicine, or pharmacies, or tourism, or engineering. You do not know which of those industries will last longer, will flourish, and which one of them might collapse or just experience recession. So it's good actually not to like have all your eggs in one basket, as they call it nowadays. Check out your financial advisor. Do not go to the like yellow pages and just pick any financial advisor randomly, or wealth manager. No, you should do a lot of homework. You should investigate, you should ask, you should do your own like investigation to find out who is the right person to manage my wealth in the stock market. Make sure your brokerage account, okay, is insured by the SIPC, which is most probably the case, but it's good actually to to take a look before you decide, by the Securities Investor Protection Corporation. Moving on. So the previous slide was the do list, and this one is the do not list. Okay, do not predict the future or make a sudden changes. Okay, by maybe I would say February or March, we started feeling the impact of COVID-19, right? Some people might voluntarily give you an advice. Oh, you need to liquidate all what you have in the stock market. Oh, there is a collapse will be happening soon. Go ahead and just keep your damage to the minimum. Sell all what you have and get your cash money and just go back home safely. Do not listen to all these rumors around. Okay, do not predict the future. Your job is to choose the right wealth manager or financial advisor and just give him full jurisdiction, full authority. Let him just act on your behalf, and rest assured that actually he is looking for your best interest, because he's looking for his best interest as well, because your profit is his success. Your profit is his success. He's making his own reputation out of having like very happy customers and making a good profit. Do not stop contributing to your 401k or any other retirement account. Okay, if you want to save, maybe you can save in a different way, but do not even come closer to your 401k, okay, or whatever the retirement account might be. As I said, it could be 403b, it could be a pension plan if you work for the federal or the state or the county. But this is actually a part. Well, this is a major part of the financial stability that we are discussing here today. We are discussing the halal stock market as a part of the financial stability and financial well-being that we are all look forward to have it during our lifetime, and even after our death. We want to make sure that our family members are safe and secure financially after we pass this life. So do not stop contributing to your 401k. Do not pay high management fees. You need to be very critique. Let's say, for example, that you do have 3 different companies with the same level of professionalism, same level of experience, same level of like profitability, records wise. I mean, you are sure that A, B, and C are almost identical. One of them charges 25%, one of them charges 20%, one of them charges 15%. It goes without saying that you need to go with the cheapest one without compromising the quality of their work. And that's why I said from the beginning, like, if just for discussion purposes, that you came up with 3 different companies who are exactly in the same level, of course you need to go with the one that charges the least and not the one who charges the most. Do not invest in something that you do not understand. Nowadays there are a lot of financial instruments in the stock market in which even to understand the mechanism of how this particular financial instrument work, okay, how does it make money, how does it incur loss, it's really hard to understand its mechanism, right? When you hear about the collateralized debt obligation or the credit, the CDS and the CO, I will be explaining some of them now. Those derivatives in which they do not reflect any kind of commodity or merchandise or goods, any kind of service, none of the above. They are just derivatives, like their market value or their value is derived from a certain index, right? Those financial instruments are not for us practicing Muslims. When we deal in the stock market, what does it mean, by the way, to hold a stock or to own a stock? It means that you are one of the owners of that particular company. If you hold one stock of Walmart or Walgreens, for example, it means that you became one of the owners of this company. So it's a very simple concept. You have to make sure that what you own is a halal, simply because you are practicing Muslim and you are looking for halal investment, not for haram investment. So do not invest in something that you do not understand, because those financial instruments, other than stocks, have a big question mark on them, whether they are bonds or like T-bills or derivatives or futures or options, as I will be explaining now. Those are not for you. Those are for somebody else who's looking for easy profits, someone who is willing to speculate and to gamble, if you wish, in the stock market, looking for easy profit. It's not you. You are as a practicing Muslim, you look for something genuine, something sound, something permissible, something halal. You have a peace of mind that whatever I'm doing in the stock market actually is halal, because having a halal source of income is one of the principles that we Muslims believe in. And do not give up on stocks, of course, because in fact this is the almost this is the only option that you have. This is the only option that you have in the stock market. If you exclude the derivatives and the options and the futures and the T-bills or the bonds, what else you have? What else you have other than the stocks? So you need to limit yourself to stocks and stocks only. Maybe some of the options might be permissible, but this is not our topic for today. Moving on. Here we go. Now let's zoom in more on the stock market. What do you need to avoid? Those are the derivatives that I was just talking about. What does it mean, a derivative? Derivative is called in Arabic al-mushtaqat al-maliyah, and from its name, derivative, you can tell that it does not have intrinsic value. It does not reflect a certain ownership of a certain company or corporation. It does not represent any actual value of a commodity or merchandise or good or even a service. So it's just a kind of financial instruments where its value is derived from the value of the underlying assets, right? So this is what we mean by derivatives. Of course, we have different categories of derivatives. We have the credit derivatives who are based on loans and bonds and other forms of credit. Again, all these different options are not for you. Main type of derivatives are forwards, futures, options, and swaps. A good example for like a very complicated derivatives that people trade in nowadays is the collateralized debt obligation, the CDO, and the CDS, which is the credit default swap. Okay, are examples of derivatives. Simply speaking, just to keep it simple, when you hold a derivative, okay, that its value is connected with a certain underlying assets, okay, or certain index, okay. If that index makes profit, you will be losing. If that index makes profit, you will be losing. If the income loss, you will be gaining money. So you are gambling. You are gambling on the financial future of that index. If they make money, you lose, and vice versa. If they lose, you make money. So you just stay and pray for their loss, because when they lose, you make money. This is not the, you know, the attitude that practicing Muslims should have. As I said several times, I mean, your job is to make sure that you own a genuine and a sound and a halal and a pure stock. Okay, stock means that you became one of the owners of that particular company that you are, you know, owning its stock. So all these different derivatives actually are to be avoided. Another thing to consider here, the U.S. Treasury securities, commonly known as bonds. When you hold the bond, it means that you lend the federal government, Uncle Sam, certain amount of money. Your principal is guaranteed, and your profit is guaranteed. Whether you want to call this profit, as an interest, as revenue, you call it commission, you call it dividend, call it whatever you want. From an Islamic finance perspective, if you advance money, if you give money to someone, and your principal is guaranteed and your profit is guaranteed as well, then this is an interest-bearing loan. It's an interest-bearing loan. And this is exactly actually what happened when you hold the bond. You lend the federal government, the government actually secures or guarantees the principal and the profit as well. And this is an interest-bearing loan. Now, regardless of the name of the instrument, sometimes they call them bills or notes or bonds or T-bills, regardless of the maturity of the financial instrument. Is it 6 months? Is it 5 years? All these technical details, how much interest you make, is it 2% or 5%? All these technical, you know, details are not within our scope of discussion today, because we are discussing the principle itself, the concept itself. Is this financial instrument in the stock market halal or haram? The answer is that it is haram. It is not an option for you to start with. Moving on. Leverage financial reserve. You open a brokerage account with TD Ameritrade, for example. They offer you a leverage account. You start your business with them with 1,000 actual real halal money that you deposit. And they offer you almost, in some cases, 99% more than what you have already deposited. So if you start with 1,000, you will be having the, you know, the ability of investing in $100,000. And believe it or not, in many cases, those 99 extra $1,000 are just fake money, like numbers, like, you know, digital money on the computer. They do not reflect actual real money. And of course, what you receive from from your broker is an interest-bearing loan. I mean, your broker does not give you money for free, right? You take the money, the profit is yours, the loss is yours as well. Like, you incurred the loss, you enjoy the profit, but this is an interest-bearing loan. You borrow from your broker and you pay interest for that. Well, as long as there is an interest-bearing loan, then you know, this option is to be dropped. It's not for you. If you want to open an account with TD, Ameritrade or any other like platform, make sure that you invest your actual real halal money, and you limit yourself to the money that you deposited. You made a deposit of $10,000. Do not exceed $10,000 in your actual trading in the stock market, whether yourself or the representative who does the business on your behalf. Of course, it goes without saying that even if you hold a stock and that stock belongs to haram business is well known for us. Any business that belongs to tobacco, for example, or wineries like alcohol products, or anything related to gambling or adult entertainment, right? Or mortgage companies or casinos or conventional banks. Okay. By the way, not every single financial service company is prohibited by default, but it's good to avoid, because I mean, bank comes as a package. I just want to emphasize here that not every single service offered by a conventional bank is haram. This is incorrect. You open a checking account, there is no haram involved in it, but you cannot make sure that the bank that you hold its stock does not conduct any haram activities, does not open a saving account. Well, most probably it does. It does offer you a saving account, which is an interest-bearing account, and that's why staying away from any financial institute is highly recommended. So back to the haram business: alcohol, tobacco, gambling, materials, conventional banks, casinos, mortgage, adult entertainment, etc., etc. All these like different businesses, although you hold a stock, it's not a bond, right? It's a stock, but yet, as long as the core business of that company is haram, then it goes without saying that this is not an option for you as a practicing Muslim. Zooming in more and more, not every single stock belongs to halal business, is halal by default. And this is actually an area of specialization that you need to find the right entity or the right person to investigate more for you. I'm just trying to limit myself to the time. We still have time. This is an area of specialization where you have to make sure that you delegate that job to the right person, to the right entity, to make the right choice. Okay, someone who is really picky and just take stocks who are free of all the following defects. Number one, high total debt to market capital ratio. Simply high debt asset ratio. What does it mean? Money here in this society is very cheap. Getting money is very cheap. Most of the big corporation, they have a trend of borrowing money. For less interest. They just apply for investment or business account, right? And they take millions of dollars for only maybe 1.5, maybe 2.5% interest rate. They borrow the money and they conduct business. They produce, commodities and merchandise and services, and they make profit 5, 7, 10%. They pay off the principal and the interest, and they keep the rest to themselves. Now, the question here that we need to answer, how big is the debt asset ratio? If you have a stock in the market reflects 40% cash money debt versus 60% actual assets. Can you trade in this stock in the market? The answer is no, because you are selling money for money, and the percentage of the money or the debt, okay, the cash money is too high. I mean, it cannot be overlooked. So anything that has high debt asset ratio is to be excluded. Of course, we have some fiqh councils and some Islamic organizations who are specialized in this field, like AOFI, for example. They set standards that you cannot exceed 30%, right? So who is the right person to investigate? Who is the right person who has a certain access to certain database to find out exactly how much is the debt asset ratio of Microsoft, of Apple, of what else? Walgreen, right? Or Walmart. Okay. Common people who are not heavily involved in the stock market, who do not have that training and that certification, do not know all these details, right? So something to be taken into consideration. Number one, with the assumption that we are talking about stocks belong to halal business, make sure that the debt asset ratio is to the minimum, Other companies, I will take Walmart one more time. Walmart is a retail store. They sell they offer almost everything, right? And the vast majority of the items offered there for sale are halal by default, right? Whether clothes or food or drink or furniture or utensils and kitchenware and on and on. However, they do have like certain departments who serve haram products. They have liquor store, right? They have some pork products. I mean, those items are explicitly extremely prohibited. The question here: how much money, how much profit they make from the pork products, from the liquor department, comparison to the profit that they make from other items? We do not know. What we know for a fact is that they do have a certain percentage of haram involved in their business. We call it commonly as the haram assets, right? In a technical term, like high interest bearing or any other prohibited assets to market capital ratio. How big is the liquor department and the pork products department in Walmart comparison to the rest of the departments? We do not know, but actually it is there. Also, high interest income versus total revenue. Again, companies have a lot of money. They do not sleep on the money. Okay, that reserve actually is usually kept or saved in saving accounts or certified deposit accounts. Right? They open saving accounts. Okay, for those millions of dollars that they have, and they generate interest. The question here: how much or how big is the percentage of interest made? Okay. By those saving accounts comparison to the halal revenue that they make from their business? We do not know, right? We need to find somebody else who is specialized enough, who is experienced enough, who has access to certain data base, who can figure out exactly how much is the interest income comparison to the total revenue, or the haram investment or the haram asset. This is a haram investment, commonly known as haram investment. Also, some stocks in the market do not have sufficient data for some reason. Okay, we do not know why there is not enough data, for a specialist to make a decision. But it is for fact that not every single company has the highest level of transparency, and all what you need to know about this company is there. It is not the case in the real life. So for someone who like you, mashallah, practicing Muslims, if you find the stock in which you do not know for sure how much is the haram investment, how much is the haram assets, how big is the debt asset ratio, there is no enough data about the stock, will you feel comfortable buying that stock? Of course no. I mean, you will not do that, because again, over and over, what you're looking for actually is halal and pure and halal investment, not anything else, regardless of the profitability of that. I mean, this is a secondary factor. It's not the primary factor. The primary factor for you is the halal. The secondary factor is the profitability of that business. Maybe I already emphasized that all these different factors have to be determined by someone, by an entity, right? Who does have the needed academic qualification and the certification and the experience to make a decision on our behalf. Usually, if you have a portfolio, okay, for your 401k, you run it by any of those commonly known as a socially responsible, sometimes they call themselves ethically responsible Muslim-owned mutual fund companies in the US. We have a lot of Muslim-based mutual fund companies in the US. Azad Fund, AZZAD, Azad Fund is one of them. Iman Fund, IMAN Fund, one of them. Amana Fund, AMANA, Amana Fund, mutual fund is one of them. Sharia Portfolio is one of them. Nowadays, we have maybe more than 10, 15, different mutual fund companies. And all of them claim to be, strictly Sharia compliant ones. The concern that we have, or the issue that we have with those companies, is that the vast majority of them, and I mean what I say, the vast majority of those companies do not have an active Sharia advisory and supervisory board. Advisory means, Sharia advisory board means a certain body, like a legal, like a fiqh authority, someone who is really well versed in Islamic finance, and like well versed in the Islamic jurisprudence, like specialized in Islamic finance, who can set standards, okay, to determine what's halal and what is doubtful and what is haram when it comes to investing in the stock market. Now that is way different than the supervisory board, right? Supervisory board actually is the one or the entity who supervises the actual performance of that particular company, because in some cases, unfortunately, the standards that have been set is in one way, and the practice is way different than the standards. So not every single company that does have standards, like well identified standard that this is what we commit to, it does not necessarily mean that they go with what they say. There is sometimes like a contradiction between the standards and the application of the standards. The problem is not with the standards. The problem is with the level of seriousness and the level of dedication, level of like diligence in applying strictly those standards. And this is actually a concern that I have, as I said, that the majority of those companies do not have Sharia advisory and supervisory board. All of them nowadays claim to follow AOFI, which is a body that I will be introducing to you inshallah now. But again, the fact that they claim that they follow the AOFI does not mean that they do follow the AOFI. Okay, you cannot judge yourself by yourself. You cannot judge yourself by yourself. You need to find a third independent qualified party and give him an access to your data, and then he can say yes, your application is correct, or your application is not that genuine, right? So back to the point. Basically, the one who is able to determine all these factors that we already discussed, like the debt asset ratio, the haram investment and the haram asset, and the like all these different glitches in the investment, is the socially responsible or the ethically responsible. Sometimes they call themselves green, investment in mutual fund companies. But the concern here is that most of them do not have that active. Maybe they have some like big names, but those scholars, with all due respect, are not heavily involved in supervising, do not have an access to the data of that company. Maybe they meet like once a year, like listen to a presentation, based on that they give their signature, and that's it. What I'm looking for is an active board member or board members. And those board members, we have to make sure that they are specialized enough. With all due respect, again, not every single sheikh with a degree in Islamic studies is specialized in Islamic finance, right? This is like a very sub-specialization, the Islamic finance, the theory and the practice. So we need to have that, that person who has all these different or like various different, areas of knowledge. Of course, based on point number 2, there is no Sharia audit is done periodically by an independent, qualified party. You go to their websites. Oh, we are like a strict, Sharia compliant investment. We follow the standards of AOFI. We follow the standards of AMJA. We attended AMJA conferences. and we follow their guidelines. But again, there is no proof that yes, you do follow AMJA or you follow IOFI guidelines. Here is the concern, right? Of course, like some of those companies, they do have Sharia board, but I'm talking about the about the vast majority of them. One of those newly started companies is Athena, the one that I'm representing today, and I'm the Sharia advisor of this company. Why I do recommend Athena to the Muslim investors? By the way, I will be like signing an agreement on behalf of Guidance College, the Islamic university that I'm running. I'm the president of Guidance College, or Al-Qudah University. We are in the process of signing an agreement with Athena to invest on our behalf in the stock market. Because actually, after I get involved with Athena, actually before that, I asked the brothers, Brother Yusri and other brothers in his team, that I need to have an access. We need to sit down together. I need to see your presentation. What is your screening process? And after I felt confident that this is the right model, or this is one of the good models that could be followed, then I agreed to be the Sharia advisor. So this particular entity actually has a conservative screening process, like 4 different layers of screening or filterization, if you wish, until they reach to a certain number of stocks who are safe enough or halal enough, right, in which they trade in. Briefly, anything, and by the way, standard number 1 is not a pure Sharia compliance one. It's just like, for confidence purposes. Any cheap, stock that is less than $4, any company that does not have at least $1 million market capital is to be excluded, because those companies might not be serious enough, might not be sustainable enough. So it's good to keep them away and just exclude them. Number 2, as you see here, the financial health review. All these different factors that I just discussed with you, like the debt asset ratio, the haram investment, and the haram assets are to be like scrutinized closely, and to go with the minimum available in the market. And then number 3, product line review. What kind of business those companies do? Of course, all the haram businesses are to be excluded. Anything related to adult entertainment or casinos or gambling or tobacco or wineries and on those different industries that you already discussed. And then after that, one more layer, which is the final one, which is to exclude some doubtful businesses like food delivery. Okay, what kind of delivery they do, we do not know, right? Like the data that we have does not specify exactly, do they deliver halal products or haram products. It's good to be in the safe side, especially if you have enough options, if you exclude those companies. And this is actually what the brothers in Athena do. One of the reasons that I do recommend Athena is that when it comes to scrutinization and filterization, they are even go beyond the standards of IOFI. For example, debt asset ratio, according to IOFI, it should not exceed 30% or 33%. And Athena, they go, I think, with 25%. So they want to be like more conservative, more strict in choosing, more picky in choosing stocks, and on and on. And of course, alhamdulillah, they do have a Sharia advisor, or a consultant, which is myself. One more thing, you do have some flexibility in dealing with this company. You can subscribe with Athena, okay, to get some orientation, some training on how to do investment in the stock market, and then you subscribe with them by paying a certain amount of money, and in return they tell you what did they buy and what did they sell, right? They do not tell you go ahead and buy. They do not ask you to sell. Your money is under your custody. You do not open an account exclusively with Athena. You keep your money in your own checking account, and you receive either by email or by text message, oh, today we have sold XYZ, bought ABC, sold this, bought that. Just a recommendation. And then you think about it. If you want to do the same, it's up to you. If you want to skip some of those stocks, you do not want to sell or to buy, that's absolutely your own exclusive decision. They do not act on your behalf. They do not act on your behalf. They just recommend for you something indirectly, because so far they're still working on their certification in the stock market, so they cannot act as your wealth manager or your financial advisor. They just send you a text message, oh, today we have sold this stock, or we have bought this stock, which means indirectly that if you want to do the same, go for it. But you are exclusively responsible for your money. Your money is under your custody. Your decision actually, or the decision is yours. And that's why you are fully responsible for your own decision. They do not take any liability because of your decision, okay? Because you are the one who made the decision. The second option, which is still under development, it's not ready to be announced. I'm still working with Brother Yusri on finalizing the contract. If you want to have a peace of mind, and of course in option one, they do the work in the back office. All these different filterization and scrutinization process is done in the back office, and you receive just a text message, few lines, after maybe hours of working in the back office, sending you the result. This is what we have done today. So they do the job on your behalf. Okay. Now, the second option is to sign an agreement or a contract with Athena, and you give them an access to your money. That's my understanding. You are still finalizing the contract. Athena in this case will be acting like a Z fund, like a mana fund. I mean, they will take care of your investment from A to Z. I mean, you give them the money or you open an account with them. I don't know what is the mechanism of this option, but they will be acting on your behalf, of course, for a certain compensation based on the Mudaraba partnership. Mudaraba partnership simply means that two different partners, one of them is the financier and the other one is the operator. In this model, you, the client, is the investor. Okay, you are the one who advances the money, and the operator or the manager of the business is Athena. You are a silent partner. You do not give them instructions what to do. You do not participate in making decisions. You give the money and you just go back home. They act on your behalf because you trust their ability and their experience in this field. Based on the Mudaraba model, if there is a profit, you share the profit with them. They came up with a good categorization. If the profit is between 1 or 2%, we're gonna charge you such and such percentage. If we make 4%, it's gonna be increasing. If we make 7%, so it is a kind of progressive percentage, which is something good actually. But you need to be careful. If there is any loss, and this might happen, if there is any loss, you will be incurring the loss exclusively, because that is the nature, or this is the in essence of the Mudaraba. I think we covered this topic reasonably. Jazakumullah khair for listening to the presentation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah and blessing in your trades. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all passing this pandemic with the less damage possible. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring in our life back to normal and save us all from all evil. Allahumma ameen. I think we have 10-15 minutes now for question and answer. Brother Yusri.
Yes, Sheikh. Jazakumullah khairan again for the lecture, Sheikh, and for also the endorsing Athena. Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullah khairan. We do have a few questions right now received from the chat room. And the number one is, if you don't mind, I'd like to go through very quickly. Is the brokerage account, this is a question about the insurance. Is the brokerage account insured by SPIC? Is it Sharia compliant, Sheikh?
The question again, one more time, sorry.
There is an account, our bank account or trading account that's insured by the government. Is it compliance? I mean, the insurance portion itself, not about the trading.
Well, the vast majority of contemporary scholars nowadays, I mean, if the question is about insurance itself, the commercial insurance, Is this the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. The vast majority of scholars nowadays are of the opinion that commercial insurance is not allowed because it involves a lot of uncertainty and vagueness and riba sometimes. However, a few of them are of a different opinion that there is no technical difference. There is no technical difference between any commercial insurance and any government-based insurance. They do believe that any government-based insurance like Medicare, like Medicaid, like Social Security, okay, is a kind of bilateral agreement. It's two-sided commitment. You pay a certain premium and you receive a certain compensation, whenever a certain unfortunate incident happen. They say that life insurance or any kind of commercial insurance is the same. They are bilateral agreements, right? You pay a certain amount as a premium, and in return you receive a certain compensation whenever a certain incident happens. Personally, I was with the mainstream maybe for the last 30 years of my life. This is what I have learned in Azhar University and when I continued my higher education. And then I found out that the other approach is reasonable as well. The one that has been adopted by Sheikh Mustafa Zarqa a while ago, who said that life insurance and commercial insurance is halal by default because it has no difference. Okay, there is no difference between the government base and the commercial, insurance. All of them are bilateral agreements. You pay a certain premium, and you receive a certain compensation, right? 4 or 5 years ago, I officially actually changed my mind, and I'm now with the opinion that any kind of commercial insurance is halal by default because there is no difference between commercial insurance, including life insurance, and the government-based one. This is my personal opinion. In our Fiqh Council in AMJA, the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, the Fiqh Council itself is still actually adopting the mainstream opinion, but we have two members of the Resident Fatwa Committee, including myself and another member. We changed our mind officially, and now our fatwa is that life insurance is permissible. Allah.
All right. The other question, Sheikh, it's about go back to the trading. How is it different between gambling, buying stock and gambling? How different it is?
Gambling actually, from the surrounding circumstances, you can tell that there is no intention of producing or buying or selling or like benefiting the society, right? You just buy a lottery ticket for $10, and you win maybe $500,000, or you lose those $10. So it's an easy profit, unethical business. It's an easy profit, unethical business. But when it comes to trading in the stock market, as I emphasized several times, when you hold the stock, you become one of the owners of that particular company. And if the business of that company is a genuine and sound and permissible one, it means that you are participating in buying and selling and trading and producing and manufacturing something. You add some value to the society. So this is an actual, like, hands-on business, right? Versus gambling, which is something that does not represent any of the above. No.
All right. Very good. Alhamdulillah. We have 2 more minutes. I'll give one more question here. It's about the most recent technology. It's Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. What's your opinion about trading these cryptocurrency vehicles?
Cryptocurrency in general is a decentralized currency. Decentralized in a sense that there is no official financial authority behind it. There is no Federal Reserve. There is no central bank. So you are dealing with anonymous, right? Okay. There is no authority to back up that currency. And in order for any currency to be a legit one, it has to be generally acceptable, right? Or accepted by the vast majority of people. which is not the case with cryptocurrency nowadays, including the Bitcoin. Number two is that every single currency, including the American dollars, whenever its value increases or decreases, like fluctuates, there must be a tangible, recognizable reason behind that fluctuation. Okay, when the economy gets good, when there is like a like a possibility of having a war between the USA and different company, this actually impacts immediately the value or the purchasing power of the American dollar. There is a reason. But the fluctuation that we experience in the cryptocurrency is unjustified. If you remember, maybe 1.5 years ago, if I recall, the Bitcoin in particular's value went down all the way, maybe 35%. Wallahi, until today, I'm just trying to find the reason why the Bitcoin went down to 35 or 40% value, like, depreciated. I couldn't find any reason. So apparently someone is playing from behind the scene. Okay, it's a scammer. It's a scam. Third reason, akhi, some people illegally use the cryptocurrency for money laundering business. So because of those three different reasons, our official position as AMJA, we do not say that cryptocurrency is prohibited. We say it shouldn't be within your comfort zone. It's good to avoid because it's not backed up or backed up by an official financial authority like the Federal Reserve or the central bank, but it's not extremely or explicitly prohibited.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan again, Sheikh. And Jazakumullah khairan for all the audience. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, 10:21 right now. And like I said, thank you so much again for...
Excuse me. Assalamu alaikum. Sorry to interrupt.
Please, go ahead. Somebody trying to say something? With that, I like to close this one by reciting the Wal Asri. May Allah bless our gathering. Wal Asri innal insana lafi khusr illa allazina amanu wa amilus shalihat wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik wa asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. With that, I'll pass it on back to the host from the IMSA, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan for everybody. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.